Howdy, community! Yes, you're at the right channel. But today we're gonna be asked, hey, when we return now in these days to our universities, we might be asked, hey, please reinvent the wheel. So, what is this all about? It all started with here, the Washington Post. And there was an opinion by a professor of history at the University of Pennsylvania at the end of August 2023. And what he said has something to it. And he said, I want you, and he's talking as a professor to his students, I want you to be intelligent. I want you to stare at a blank page or a screen for hours, trying to decide how to start. I want you to write draft after draft and develop a stronger version of your own ideas. I want you to be proud of what you accomplished, not ashamed that you cut corners. Most of all, I want you to decide what is real. So he focuses the application of artificial intelligence at the university for research, for teaching, for whatever you think you can use it at the university. And he says, I want you to be intelligent. And he says, I say this because AI does your thinking for you. So he thinks that as a professor of history, that AI really can think in a human way. And he argues that there's a reason it's called intelligence after all. So because artificial intelligence is called intelligence, it does the thinking for you. I would say an interesting point of view from a very educated professor from a beautiful university, but maybe not really how I feel about it. So today will be a little bit about my personal experience that I would like to share. So what else? So I understand what he's trying to do. He's trying to protect his students from something new. And he wants that the students sit for hours and hours in front of a blank page. And he says, no, you are not allowed to get motivated by AI. You are not allowed to get some impulse, some input from AI. No, you have to sit and wait hours and hours in front. You have to stare at a blank page till you are creative from the very first beginning. Now, maybe this is not the approach in the 21st century, but I understand him in a certain way. He says, yeah, there is one thing AI will never do, make you into a fully autonomous human being. And I think he's right. You have your family, you have your social interaction. You at university, you grow. So, and he says, I want that to be your ambition. And if you want that too, then avoid the bots. Now, suddenly we're talking about bots, maybe about information bots, maybe about misinformation bots, and it's all put into artificial intelligence. Okay, this is the first article that I read. Some days later, yes, it's still in the same Washington Post. Do not ask me why I in Austria read the Washington Post. I don't know. There was an article and I said, hey, what a different approach. Hey, AI won't replace human. It will enhance our learning. And this is here by Jessica, Director of Teaching and Learning Excellence at the Center of Excellence at the University of Baltimore. Another beautiful university. Now, this approach is completely different because Jessica says, hey, I'm no less human because I receive help in thinking about things from AI. All AI is, when understood, is a little help, a guide on the road to insight. I hope we continue to teach our students using all tools available and not deter them from the pursuit of happiness, knowledge and experience. So here the approach, what is AI? AI is a tool, like your smartphone, like when I went to school, my calculator. You see, this is something I feel a little bit more familiar with. AI for me might also be a tool, but it will definitely enhance my learning. But now I know you say, yeah, okay, but what about Ivory League University? What about the most intelligent people measured on their publication? What do they say? And now we have here MIT Technology Review, September 4, 2023. And of course, MIT is not writing about MIT, but MIT is writing about Yale University. The title is How One Elite University is Approaching ChatGPT this school year. And we're all returning now to university, so interesting time. So let's have a look at this. And here, Jenny is the Associate Provost at Yale University. She has here also an idea that goes more with learning. Let's hear what Jenny says. There was no moment ever when Yale thought about banning ChatGPT. We thought about how we can encourage an environment of learning and experimentation in our role as a university. This is simply a new technology, but this is not just a technical change. It's a moment in society when challenging how we think about humans, how we think about knowledge, how we think about learning and what it means. So she got her staff together and said, look, we need to have guidance out there for our colleagues. We don't necessarily have the answers, but we need to have a curated set of resources for faculty to look at. We don't have a policy that says you must use this, or you should not use this, or this is the framework for using it. No, just make sure your students have a sense of how AI is relevant for the course, how they might use it, or should they not use it. So you see, this is a much more open approach, saying, okay, and then a sentence I really like, that's what I feel. Teachers should look to their students for guidance. And Jenny argues, hey, the students in general are way ahead of the faculty members. They have grown up in a world where new technologies are coming and going, and they are trying things out. And of course, ChatGPT is the latest thing, so they are using it. They want to use it responsibly. And they are asking, hey, what's allowed? Look at all the things I could do. Am I allowed to do that here at Yale University? So the advice Jenny gave to the faculty members was that you need to be trying this out. So the faculty member have hands-on experience. You need to be at least be conservative in what your students are able to do and think about your assignment and what this tool enables. And you see here this idea that AI is a tool that enables learning. This is something I like. What policies or guidances you're going to give to students in terms of whether they are allowed to use it. But this is a different approach. She says, you don't have to do this by yourself. You can have a conversation with your students. My goodness, we are treating students as adults? When did this happen? Okay, never mind. So Jenny said, you can co-create something with your students, with faculty. Because why not draw on the experience in your classroom? And I think this is a beautiful approach to do this. And you might have noticed if you follow my community tab in my YouTube channel that also a day ago I said, hey, I was asked, what can we do with LLM? What can we use these fine-tuned AI systems for? And I thought, yeah, I explain maybe a lot and I give you some examples, but what is really the power of applications? So I said, hey, I start here a short rapid fire YouTube video series, 10 seconds, just the title, coming up with ideas for some actual real world AI use cases. And I say, if you have some idea, hey, I will be your humble servant and generate a YouTube short if your comment outside the global average wisdom of 8 billion on this planet. And it's very interesting here. Maybe you have a look here at the voting, but you see here, AI for me is a pattern detection machine. And it's a pattern detection machine that has been trained for, I don't know, let's say 2 million, maybe it's 20 million patterns, how people all over the world behave for solving a certain problem. And if I use AI, I can say, hey, can I learn from other patterns, from other people who had a different perspective or were so much more intelligent than me? Can I learn different patterns? And if you compare this now with the very first statement, where the professor said, hey, you should sit hours and hours in front of a blank page. Why you have to experience this approach? And I tell you one comment I really like. This is a comment I like. And here the user said, hey, my goal is to build a Jarvis that can speak and essentially make family life easier. It will help the kids with math homework, with research. It will shift through information and present the most relevant finding. Assist me with work. That's what I think AI is perfect for. Oh, it should be also connected to cameras and fine-tuned to recognized object. Familiar and unfamiliar individuals. I'm not sure if it's feasible, but definitely something to explore in the future. You see, I like this comment. So, but of course, since I told you that I look at AI as a pattern detection machine, I asked GPT-4 for this. And as you can see, the answer by GPT-4 was, hey, you have a theoretical physics perspective of this and the realm of complex system. You have a mathematical perspective. LLM can be viewed as a high-dimensional function approximator. It maps input sequences to output sequences based on the patterns it had learned. So the vast parameter of space and LLM allow it to capture intrinsic pattern in the data, much like how mathematical function can represent complex relationship, chemistry, computer science perspective. Then we have here an AI perspective about it. I have even a philosophical perspective. Wow. Where GPT-4 comes, does it truly understand the content? Does an AI system understand it, or is it really just a pattern recognition machine? It delves into a deeper question about the nature of consciousness and understanding, but not the topic of today. And then we have a practical perspective. My goodness, yes, we have a practical perspective. In practical application, recognizing that the LLM is a pattern detection machine can guide its use. For instance, if an LLM is trained on a scientific literature, it will be adept at generating scientific text. However, it might not be as proficient in areas where it has not detected patterns, such as new groundbreaking research that has not been part of its training data. Well, beautiful. So in summary, GPT-4 tells me the statement can be understood and interpreted in various ways depending on the lens through which it is viewed. Each perspective offers a unique insight into the capabilities and limitations of LLM as a pattern detection machine. Interesting. And then you know me. I said, hey, GPT, how would you judge here my statement that AI is a pattern recognition machine? And now I have here chosen in my GPT-4 a very specific personality. I'll show you in a second. And given this imprint, how I want the GPT-4 behaves in my interaction, GPT-4 comes back and says, hey, giving you a record and preference for neutral and fact-based responses. I'll evaluate the statement. An AI, in specific an LLM, is a pattern detection machine from a scientific and neutral standpoint. And then GPT-4 gives accuracy, simplicity, generalization, contextual relevance, and limitations. And that's nice because, you see, GPT-4 says, hey, the statement is fundamentally accurate. At its core, an LLM is designed to recognize pattern in a vast amount of textual data. Simplicity. The statement simplifies a complex concept. It is a generalization. While pattern is a crucial aspect of LLM, it is also essential to note that not all AI systems are primarily pattern detection. We might have rule-based systems. So you see, I use here GPT-4 as a kind of sparring partner. I can wake up at 2 o'clock in the night and say, hey, I have an idea. What do you think about it? So GPT-4 comes up here then in inclusion. The statement, yes, 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 provides a concise and accurate description of the core functionality of an LLM. However, it's a simplification and does not capture the full complexity. It serves as a starting point for understanding, but should be complemented with more detailed information for a comprehensive view. So, honestly, for an AI system today, starting September 2023, this is a statement I say, yeah, okay, great. I can work with this statement. I can use here AI as a tool for my understanding, for my, how's it called? The road to insights. So this is the way I see it. Yeah, I told you about how I program GPT-4 for responses. You know, this customization. Everybody can do this. I have more or less 3 different personalities. I have here a multi-agent perspective that I like GPT-4 to act. So I tell him, hey, you are a central intelligence, and whatever my question is, at least you generate 3 different agents, and those 3 agents interact with each other, discuss this, my topic, if you want here, between them, and then come back and explain the different perspective to me. So I want to have a structure of multiple patterns of knowledge of argumentation. I want here a complete heterogeneous system with a high complexity. And I probe GPT-4 to behave in this way. And this is really if you enter here a dark room and you have a flashlight and you just shine here a light on one spot. This is my one spot, for example, here to start with, a multi-agent system. And then, and this is something I call a companion. This is from a very old Star Trek movie with Captain Kirk and whatever. Now, this is something that I say GPT-4, hey, behave in my patterns. I've given you all my publication. You know how I argue. I've given you, 100 YouTube videos to learn how I argue and think. So this is my patterns, but elevated, intensified. If you want, this is a kind of a better me. This is something with my pattern with 120%. So whenever I come home in the evening and I'm tired, I'm not really motivated, I like to have the role of GPT-4 as a companion. So of course it is, I'm thinking inside of the box. I'm here locked here into my kind of environment, or here in an interaction process with my patterns, similar patterns. But yeah, I have to tell you, this is what I currently prefer to augment here my information uptake. And then I have more or less, I'm not sure yet, GPT-4 as a real controversial perspective agent. So I programmed him with definitely not my patterns. I said definitely act against all the patterns that I teach you. Be radical different to the patterns here in the companion structure. Be much more emotional, be more outgoing. And it is sometimes really interesting what this specific GPT-4 version comes back with. And there are sentences that stick in my mind, because they are so different to my way of thinking. But they also open up kind of a new room, a new dark room, where I can say, hey, wow, this is interesting. Never thought about this from this perspective. So you see, the way you use, or more or less the way I use artificial intelligence today, with the system we have today, I can program my AI system to behave in a certain way. And I know that very soon you will have this opportunity in, with Meta. You will have it from Microsoft, who integrated AI into everything. Every product I think Microsoft has will have this AI functionality and this personality. And more or less, it depends on you if you want to use this. If you say this is beneficial for me, and if you say no, then please do not use it. But I think nobody should tell, even at university, hey, you are not allowed to use this if it is helpful. So you see, Wherever you go back to university now this semester, you will have your local regional rules or recommendation by the faculty staff, by your university. But keep in mind, whatever you do at home, wherever you want to accelerate your learning, this technology is out there. It is available, and ChatGPT is more or less free. So maybe it is not always, how to say this, that you always have to follow the instruction by the university staff at the university and in your private life. But hey, why not give it a try? Experiment with AI. Regard it like playing around, get a feeling for it, see how you like to use it, integrate it in your life, integrate it in your learning process. Great, this was it. I'm a little bit uncomfortable because it's such a personal video and I've not given you any scientific insight today, but I thought, hey, it is time for this video. Coming back to university, you will find a lot of different rules and limitations. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. I hope it was informative. It would be great to see you in my next video.